Dear child, the angels have been surrounding you with divine light since the moment your heart whispered that something unseen had taken place. You didn't hear it. You didn't see it. But last night heaven did, because just when your name was spoken by someone who didn't hold your light with grace, something extraordinary happened. A person who holds a quiet love for you could not stay silent. Instead of letting the words fall like shadows, they rose like a shield made of truth and loyalty. And the angels saw it. In that moment, they stepped forward to ensure you would know, not through gossip, not through hearsay, but through a message carried gently to your heart, wrapped in wings of protection. You are not alone, dear one. Stay with this message. The truth they tried to protect you from is the very truth your soul was meant to finally receive.
Dear child, in the sacred silence of the heavens, a moment unfolded so pure, so unexpected, that even the angels paused to witness it. In the midst of ordinary chaos, your name was spoken. But not with love, not with the warmth it deserves. There were words hurled, intentions cloaked in malice, and laughter that carried shadows. But then, like a sudden gust of divine wind, someone rose. Someone you hold close in the secret chambers of your heart. Someone whose soul has always been entangled with yours in quiet ways, stood between the insult and your spirit. Not out of duty, but out of instinct. They stopped the words mid-air, refusing to let them wound what they know is sacred in you. This wasn't planned, dear child. It wasn't rehearsed. It was pure, it was brave, and it was real. There is something deeply beautiful about the energy of someone who acts from the heart, without needing to think. Someone who doesn't calculate what it might cost them to protect you. And in that moment, your special person did exactly that. Their soul remembered your light, even when the room was filled with darkness. Their voice, steady and sure, spoke not only in your defense, but in defense of everything they feel about you. Everything they've perhaps never had the courage to confess aloud. The words they said were like a ripple of truth through a stagnant space. They revealed how deeply they see your value, how unshakable their respect for you has become, and how they would not allow anyone to stain what they silently treasure. Heaven watched this moment not with judgment but with awe. Because what happened in that instant, dear child, was not just a defense. It was a revelation, a soul declaring, without knowing they were declaring it, that your energy is precious, that your spirit deserves to be protected. They may not have used poetic words or dramatic gestures, but what they did carried the weight of honesty that even divine realms could feel. Their eyes may have flared with a fire they didn't even know they held. Their tone may have surprised even them, but it was your name that awakened that fire. It was your silent presence in their life that gave them the courage to speak with that conviction. Title Amen if you trust in angels' guidance. Dear one, the angels want you to know that this wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't just a random act of decency. This was a spiritual spark igniting between two souls who share a path written long before either of you were aware of it. You were defended, not just in a conversation, but in the unseen energy that binds hearts together across lifetimes. Your special person, even if they haven't always shown it clearly, feels something powerful stirring within them. And this moment, this bold defense, was their soul's way of showing you that they see you, that they choose you, and that they won't stay silent when you're being diminished. Because to them, your presence is not something to be taken lightly. It's something they are slowly starting to cherish more than they ever expected. And perhaps, dear child, this is also a reminder to you. A reminder that while you may sometimes feel alone or misunderstood, while you may question who truly sees your heart without distortion, there are souls who do. There is at least one heart, quietly beating, that holds a growing admiration for you, one that may struggle with how to express it, but has reached a turning point where silence is no longer possible. The moment they defended you, even without knowing you would ever hear about it, they stepped into alignment with their higher self. They began to shed their fears, their hesitations, and allowed their spirit to speak for them. And when that happens, beloved child, you must know that it is heaven's way of confirming what your own heart has long suspected. This person is not done walking this path with you. So if you've been waiting for a sign that you matter more than they let on, this is it. If you've wondered whether your absence would echo in their world, whether your spirit left a mark on their heart, now you know. Their reaction wasn't casual. It wasn't for show. It came from a place they hadn't accessed in a long time. The place where love rises without shame and connection speaks louder than fear. And the angels want you to hold on to that truth, because more than the words spoken, it's the energy behind them that tells the story. And the energy said, "You are loved, you are worthy, and you are no longer invisible in their eyes." This was just the beginning, dear one. A doorway has opened, even if neither of you fully realizes it yet. And the light that poured through in that moment when they stood for you is now guiding the next chapter. Let your heart receive it. Let it melt the doubt, the disappointment, the memories of people who stayed silent when you needed their voice the most. Because someone finally didn't stay silent. Someone spoke, and heaven heard it all. Dear child, the angels have watched quietly for some time now as this person in your life juggled their feelings, struggling between what they truly feel for you and what the world has expected them to maintain on the surface. This is someone who has long walked a delicate balance, caught between two realms. One of duty, reputation, routine, and one of raw, sacred emotion that is stirred only by your presence. Their heart knows you, their spirit recognizes something eternal in you, but their human self has been trying to keep the peace between conflicting desires. And in that moment when someone dared to insult your name, something within them snapped that delicate balance. Not in chaos, dear child, but in clarity. They could no longer pretend to weigh what mattered more. Their soul chose you. You must understand that this act of standing up for you, of speaking words that defended your dignity and light, did not come from nowhere. It was the culmination of an inner battle they've been silently carrying, perhaps for weeks, months, or even longer. There is a side of them that has always wanted to do the right thing by you, even if they didn't know how to say it or show it. But the presence of others, the noise of external expectations, and the fear of change kept pulling them in another direction until that one moment, that one conversation, that one insult. And suddenly, they realized the truth could no longer be held in balance. Their voice rose, not out of planning or performance, but from a deep sense of knowing that you deserved to be honored in that instant. Dear one, when the angels watched this unfold, they didn't just see someone defending you. They saw a soul tipping into alignment with its highest truth. Your special person didn't just speak out. They made a spiritual decision. A decision to stop hiding how much you matter to them, to stop protecting the feelings of those who don't see your worth, and to finally let their actions reveal the love they've kept inside. It left everyone speechless, not just because of what they said, but because of the shift in energy it carried. It was as if they dropped everything they had been juggling and chose to hold only one thing: your soul, your honor, your light. Type up "I believe" if your heart still clings to God's promise, even when the road ahead is unclear, because deep within you know He's already there, waiting to walk you through. This, dear child, is not a small thing. It is sacred, and the angels want you to know that this moment has created a ripple in both of your paths. Their choice to defend you, especially when it would have been easier to stay silent or neutral, was a divine turning point. It was a message from the universe that you are no longer meant to be sidelined, disrespected, or kept in the shadows. You are meant to be protected, uplifted, and spoken of with reverence. And now that this person has crossed that threshold, their heart will no longer be able to unfeel what it felt in that moment. The balance has shifted for good. Let this message soothe the part of you that has been wondering if you are truly seen. Let it heal the ache of being misunderstood, unacknowledged, or treated as if your presence doesn't matter. Because the truth is, dear child, you have moved something powerful in the soul of another. And when that soul finally rose in your defense, the entire spiritual realm paused to honor the beauty of it. You did not ask for anyone to protect you. You did not demand loyalty. But your energy, your grace, your unwavering goodness called for it naturally, and they responded. Do not doubt the sincerity of what happened. Do not second guess if it meant anything. The angels assure you it meant everything. It was a sign that your light is becoming too bright to be ignored, too valuable to be overlooked, and too deeply felt to be hidden. Even in a world that often tells people to suppress their true emotions, you sparked truth in someone, and that truth came forward, not just in words, but in courage. You may find that after this, things between you and this person begin to shift. They may still try to juggle for a while. Old habits do not fall away easily, but something has changed. Their soul is now on the path to choosing you more openly, more steadily, and each time your name is spoken, it will echo with the memory of the moment they first chose to honor it. So hold this close, dear one. You are not alone. You were never invisible. And now, finally, someone is beginning to speak for you the way heaven always has. Dear child, the angels have stepped forward today with a message so full of emotion that even the heavens hold their breath as it reaches you. There was a moment recently, silent yet explosive, where your name was spoken in a way that summoned unexpected tension. It was one of those moments where words could have gone either way, where someone's carelessness could have cast shadows over your soul, and yet, what happened instead left everyone around in stunned silence. Because the person you hold in your heart, the one you sometimes wonder if they truly see you, rose in that very moment. Not just to interrupt the insult, but to proclaim a truth about you that they had never voiced so clearly before. In that moment, dear one, their soul declared its bond to yours. And the angels want you to know it wasn't an accident. It wasn't just a reaction. It was love, pure and unfiltered, emerging through their voice even before they fully realized it themselves. This connection between the two of you is not ordinary. It is not a fleeting attachment formed by chance or shallow interest. It is something sacred, something written long before either of you learned how to speak the language of love. This is a soul connection, where your energies have known one another across dimensions, where your spirits have chosen each other again and again in lifetimes past. That is why, even without planning, even without intending to, this person found themselves defending you with a conviction that startled even them. They weren't simply protecting your name, dear child. They were honoring the soul contract between you. A silent vow that says, I see you, I know who you are. I will not let anyone diminish what you mean to me. That's what was revealed in that moment. And it shook the air around them because others felt it too. Type grateful if quiet miracles have whispered to you in unexpected moments, softly reminding you that heaven never stopped watching over your soul. Something real, something raw, something undeniable moved through that space and silenced every tongue. You have to understand, dear one, that your special person didn't step forward out of obligation or politeness. They were compelled by something much deeper. It was their heart recognizing your worth. It was their spirit reacting to your pain as if it were their own. Because in truth, your hearts have been dancing around one another's frequencies for some time now, maybe even longer than you realize. And though they may not have spoken it aloud before, this moment became the first time their inner knowing took over their outer hesitation. Their defense of you wasn't rehearsed. It was born from truth, a truth that says, I cannot remain silent while someone dares to treat this soul, the one my heart leans toward, with anything less than reverence. The angels witnessed this unfolding not with surprise, but with gentle awe. They knew this day would come, a moment when love would break past fear, when protection would overpower ego, when connection would speak louder than convention. This was no small gesture. It was a sacred unveiling, because in their words, perhaps hurried, perhaps trembling, was a confession they hadn't yet given you directly. And that confession is simple, dear child. They care for you more than they've shown. They feel something for you that defies easy explanation. And now that it's been spoken into the universe, it cannot be undone. You may find yourself revisiting that moment, trying to understand why it shook you so deeply, why it brought tears to your eyes or a strange stillness to your heart. The angels want you to know it's because you recognized the vibration of truth in it. Even if you've been unsure of their feelings before, something inside you heard their soul in that moment, and your soul responded. This is the resonance of two cups being offered with trembling hands, two energies saying yes to one another, even if the world around hasn't caught up yet. And the most powerful part, beloved child, is that it came not in a planned confession, but in a moment of raw defense. That's when the truth always speaks loudest, when it has no time to hide. Let this moment be a marker in your journey, a reminder that you are not alone in your feelings, that the person your heart leans toward has already begun to echo that leaning back to you, even if in unexpected ways. They may not have said the words yet, they may still struggle with the weight of what this connection means, but their soul has already answered yours, and it answered with loyalty, with fire, with a need to protect your name because to them you are no longer just someone. They now realize you are someone sacred, someone they cannot let others speak of without stepping in. The angels bless this unfolding and urge you to stay open. There is more to come. This act of protection was not the end. It was only the beginning. A doorway has opened between you two, and it cannot be closed again. Let your heart rest in the knowledge that love is moving, that the one you love is beginning to understand the weight of their feelings, and most of all, that heaven is guiding both of you toward a union where love is not hidden behind politeness, but shouted in defense when it matters most. You are seen, you are honored, and most importantly, dear child, you are loved. Dear child, the angels surround you right now with a quiet reverence, for they have seen something within you that even you sometimes forget exists. They have seen a resilience so profound, so rooted in grace, that it becomes impossible for darkness to stay where your spirit walks. And now, in this very moment, they bring forward the message you've been waiting to hear. The message that explains why, in a room filled with tension, your name became the battleground, and yet someone rose not with noise or chaos, but with calm courage to defend you in a way that silenced even the strongest voices. That person, your special one, did not just react. They revealed something deeper. They revealed the strength of their bond with you, not through shouting, but through an unwavering calm. And that, dear one, was the moment heaven watched with the deepest awe. The angels want you to understand that this moment of defense was not about power or proving something to others. It was about emotional courage. It was about the kind of strength that doesn't look like aggression but radiates through compassion, through loyalty, through a silent promise that says, I will not let your light be dimmed while I stand beside you. Your special person may not always show their feelings through grand gestures or loud declarations, but what they did in that moment, when your name was being misused, when judgment hung in the air, was born of love that refuses to be silent when you are hurt. Their defense wasn't just about right and wrong. It was about sacred connection. It was about honoring the deep knowing they carry inside them that you matter, that you deserve to be protected not just when things are easy, but especially when things turn difficult. This is the strength that the angels speak of. It is not the kind that demands attention. It is the kind that holds you steady when your knees shake. Type blessed if you felt the gentle nearness of angels, guiding your steps, guarding your peace, and filling you with unshakable calm in times of doubt. The kind that whispers over your wounds, not just shouting over them. And that is what your person did, even if their words were few, even if the moment passed quickly in the eyes of others. What they revealed was an inner decision, an unshakable truth they carry within them about you. That you are someone worthy of being protected, that your presence deserves reverence, not ridicule, and that they will no longer remain silent in the face of anyone who dares to treat you otherwise. Dear child, the angels know that this act may have left you stunned. You may still be trying to understand why it moved you so deeply, but your soul knows. Your soul recognized the energy of someone choosing you not out of convenience, but out of deep respect. And when someone chooses to use their strength for your sake, especially when they didn't have to, that is love speaking without needing to say, I love you. That is the language of the soul, and it speaks louder than words ever could. Do you know what makes this moment even more sacred? It came from someone who perhaps struggles to express what they feel. Someone who may have been holding back, waiting for the right time to speak the fullness of their heart. But this time, the moment pulled it out of them. The situation required truth, and their soul couldn't hold it in anymore. Their love for you, their care for your well-being demanded a voice, and so they spoke. And that voice echoed not just through the room, but through the energy field between you and them. It shifted the entire vibration of your connection, because now the bond has been acknowledged not just in secret thoughts or private dreams, but in real action, in front of others, in a way that left no room for doubt. The angels are so proud of you, dear one. They see how gracefully you've walked through situations that could have broken others. They see the times you stayed silent to preserve peace, the times you absorbed pain just to protect someone else's dignity. And now, someone has finally mirrored that grace back to you. That is divine justice. That is emotional equilibrium being restored. That is your energy finally being honored in return. And while others may not understand why it matters so much, the heavens do. Because they know the battles you fought behind closed doors. They know how much strength it took to not let those wounds define you. And now, in this act of unexpected protection, the angels are telling you, your strength has been seen, and the person your heart longs for is beginning to see it too. Not just your beauty, not just your kindness, but your quiet power. And that realization has transformed something inside them. To them, this moment forward, expect the dynamic to change. Expect their words to carry more softness, more truth. Expect their actions to start reflecting a commitment they didn't know how to express before. Because when someone taps into this level of emotional courage, they don't go back to silence. They don't unfeel what they felt. They've tasted what it's like to stand in truth for someone they care about, and now that awareness will only grow stronger. The angels urge you now to remain open. Let your heart receive this transformation. Do not rush to question it or second guess it. Just rest in the knowledge that your love, your light, your essence has finally called forth a response from the one you love. A response that says, I am here. I may not always have the words, but I have chosen you in the way that matters most by standing beside you when it counted. You, dear child, are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are being lifted now into a higher vibration of love. One where the people in your life will begin to match the same strength and loyalty you've always offered. And this is just the beginning. The angels are orchestrating more moments like this. Moments where your worth will no longer be questioned, but declared. Where your name will be spoken with reverence. And where love will rise in defense of you. Not because you asked for it, but because heaven has decided it is finally your time to be protected, honored, and loved in return. Type if you've walked through storms no one saw, carried silent battles, and still chose love. Still chose light, even when it cost you everything. Dear child, there are moments in life when truth stands taller than pride, when love takes the shape of honor, and when someone's words pierce the silence not to hurt, but to heal, to protect, to reveal something sacred. The angels have witnessed such a moment unfold for you, and now they come gently to whisper what your heart has not yet fully grasped. When your special person stood up and defended you against an insult that could have cut deep into your spirit, something more than just loyalty was spoken into the air. What was revealed in that sacred moment was not merely affection or attraction, but a deeper, soul-level acknowledgement that you hold a place in their heart that no one else can occupy. The kind of place that cannot be shaken by rumors, judgment, or the noise of others who do not truly see who you are. That moment, dear one, was not just about you being defended. It was about a spiritual vow being made, perhaps not out loud, but written in energy. And heaven saw it. The angels want you to know that the person who spoke up for you did so not out of impulse, but from a place of internal knowing. A place where they have quietly held space for you, where they have wrestled with what you mean to them, and where they have silently chosen to align with you, even if they never said the words before. The soul does not need grand declarations to prove devotion. Sometimes, all it needs is a moment like this, where someone risks being questioned or misunderstood simply to make it known that they will not allow your name to be diminished in their presence. That kind of act, dear child, is not born from the ordinary. It comes from a sacred place, and that is what the angels are highlighting now. What was spoken in that moment, what left others speechless, was a reflection of spiritual truth, the kind that only surfaces when a soul has already made a silent covenant with another. Perhaps your person didn't even plan it. Perhaps they didn't know they were capable of such bold clarity, but when your energy was brought up, when the vibration of insult or mockery tried to attach itself to your name, something within them rose up with conviction. And that conviction came from love, but not the fleeting kind. It came from a connection that's rooted in purpose, in destiny, in the quiet guidance of the divine that has been nudging this person for some time. Because love that is truly meant for your soul doesn't sit back while you are being torn down. It doesn't remain still when your essence is being misrepresented. It rises, and when it rises, it commands the room with silence-breaking truth. The angels are deeply moved by this, dear child, because they have seen how often you've been quiet in your own pain, how many times you chose peace instead of reacting, how many insults you've swallowed just to keep the harmony. And now heaven allowed someone else to carry that mantle for you. Someone else, without prompting, spoke your dignity into the air and declared with their presence alone that you are not alone, you are not voiceless. You are not to be disrespected. This was a soul-level correction in the field of energy around you, and it shifted things in a way you may not fully see yet, but you will feel it in your relationships, in your sense of self, in the way the world responds to you going forward. The angels also want to gently remind you, beloved, that this moment was a divine initiation. You see, when someone defends you like this, it is often a sign that the connection between you is stepping into a higher frequency. No longer just about surface-level interactions, no longer just about curiosity or desire. It is moving into reverence, into truth, into the sacred. That person, your person, may not even fully understand why they did what they did, but their soul does. Their soul recognizes you. Their soul remembers something from long before this lifetime, a bond, a vow, a promise to protect you when the world forgot your worth. And that vow was awakened in that very moment when someone tried to insult you, and they just couldn't stay silent anymore. Type guided if you know your journey is not random. Every detour, every delay, every divine pause has been perfectly led by unseen hands that never let go. Dear child, please don't dismiss this as a passing event. The angels urge you to honor it for what it truly is, a divine mirror being held up to you, reflecting back the strength, the dignity, the divine light that you carry, which is so powerful it commands protection without even asking for it. And if your heart still feels disbelief, if you're struggling to understand why someone would defend you so fiercely, let the angels speak directly to that doubt. It is because you are more loved than you realize. You are more seen than you know, and your name is spoken in rooms of light, even when you're not there to hear it. This moment is also a preparation, because as your energy continues to rise, so will your encounters with people who either misunderstand you or try to test your worth. But now, heaven is appointing protectors around you, people who will not only see your value but speak it, even when you are not present. People who will refuse to allow your story to be twisted or your name to be misused. This is not just about one person defending you. It is about the beginning of a new chapter in which you no longer have to defend yourself alone. Dear child, the angels come to you now carrying a message so rich in divine meaning, so woven into the very threads of your destiny, that they ask you to pause and receive it with an open and softened heart. Something sacred unfolded the moment your special person stepped forward and silenced an insult that was never meant to touch your spirit. But what happened in that moment, beloved one, went beyond defense. What they revealed, what they allowed to slip out from the depths of their soul, was a glimpse into how profoundly they envision a future that includes you. This wasn't just an act of speaking up. It was the vibration of legacy being formed, a spiritual blueprint surfacing in a heartbeat where love chose courage over silence. The angels saw it clearly. Your person's words weren't just a reaction, they were an unconscious unveiling of a vision. One where you are not only cherished but rooted deeply in their imagined life ahead. What they said in your defense hinted at something bigger than the moment. Something that made even others pause and realize this connection is no ordinary bond. It's not fragile or fleeting. It carries the essence of family, of deep emotional belonging, of being seen as someone they can build with, grow with, walk beside, not just for a season but for a lifetime. And maybe, dear one, you weren't there to hear it directly. Maybe it reached you only through a whisper or a look, but the divine realm watched it unfold and now brings you this confirmation. You are seen as part of their forever. What left everyone speechless that day was not simply the defense itself, but the tone of truth that echoed through it. There was no doubt, no hesitancy, no calculation, just a raw, instinctual response that came from somewhere deeper than logic. And that is why the angels want you to understand that this moment was divinely orchestrated. You have prayed, cried, questioned, and waited, longing to know if someone truly understands the depth of your soul. And now, through that single moment of honor, heaven answers you. Not only are you seen, but you are being embraced into the long-term energy of love that wants to make you feel safe, wanted, and celebrated. You are not a guest in their heart. You are home. Dear child, the soul who spoke in your name did so because something within them already belongs to you. Whether or not they've said it aloud, their spirit has already claimed you as someone sacred. And the angels gently reveal that this connection is not just a passing emotion. It carries ancestral energy, karmic healing, and the possibility of creating something together that is deeply rooted and divinely blessed. When someone sees you not only for who you are, but for who you could become together, that is a love that heals timelines. That is a love that builds temples, not just castles in the air. There is another layer to this, beloved. That moment of defense may have stirred a change not only in how others view you, but in how this person now views themselves. Sometimes speaking up for someone reveals to the speaker just how deeply they feel, and in that sacred instant your person may have come face to face with a realization they had not yet put into words. That their life is better with you in it. That your presence, your spirit, your laughter, your silence, your strength, and your tenderness are not just appreciated, but needed. And they may now be seeing that without you, something in their world feels incomplete. Type faith if something inside you still whispers that God is preparing a future more beautiful than anything you've lost, more radiant than every tear you've cried. The angels also speak to the atmosphere around you, dear one. That moment created a ripple that heaven will now use to build something stronger. The energy of family, unity, legacy, and protection is now surrounding you. You are being wrapped in the light of stability and future blessings, not just in romantic love, but in your relationships, your finances, your sole purpose. That one act of truth unlocked a new gate in your spiritual path, and everything from this point on will begin to shift into deeper alignment with what your soul truly desires. You are not walking alone anymore, even when it feels like you are. Someone is quietly walking toward you in the realm of intention, heart, and destiny. So, precious one, receive this message, not with fear or doubt, but with grace. You have been waiting for proof that love doesn't always hide, that sometimes it does speak, it does protect, it does claim, and the angels are here to tell you that you received that proof, whether whispered in secret or declared out loud. It was real, it was divine, and it will not be forgotten by heaven, dear child. There are moments in life when silence feels safer than truth, when hearts protect themselves by pretending not to care, when pain is hidden behind sarcasm or retreat, and yet there comes a time, often unexpected, when the soul can no longer remain quiet, when someone who has been carrying emotional wounds can no longer sit still as another's name, especially yours, is treated unjustly. The moment the angels want to speak to you about now is one such instance, because what happened when your special person stood up for you wasn't just an act of defense. It was the breaking of a long-held silence, a sacred rupture in the wall they had built to hide just how deeply you've pierced their heart. And the words they spoke, though few, carried the weight of all the unspoken feelings they've kept hidden. This was a heart cracked open by love and grief all at once. Dear one, the angels saw the way they clenched their jaw, the way their breath changed, the way their body leaned forward, not just to interrupt an insult, but to finally confess, through emotion more than logic, that you matter more than anyone knows. In that raw moment, a truth escaped them that not even they had fully admitted. That loving you had left a mark, a beautiful, unforgettable, sometimes painful mark that continues to echo in every quiet part of them. Their voice may have trembled, but their soul spoke clearly. Don't you dare speak of them that way, is what was heard, but what heaven heard beneath those words was, they broke me and healed me. They left, or I did, but I never stopped loving them, and I never will. Beloved child, this card brings with it a message not only of pain, but of revelation, because it is in heartbreak that the soul is stripped bare, revealing the truth that cannot be hidden. What your special person revealed in that moment of defense wasn't just about you. It was about themselves, about the guilt they carry, about the regret they've held on to, about how they replay moments and wish they could take back the things they did not say when you needed to hear them. That defense, that interruption, that sudden burst of protection, it came from a place of unresolved longing, and whether the world heard it or not, heaven did. The angels did. And now so must you. You see, dear child, their heart is not whole without you. And though they may pretend, though they may distract themselves with other voices and moments and decisions, nothing has ever quite filled the space you once held. And when your name came up, perhaps casually, perhaps carelessly, they could not remain quiet, because something inside of them still aches, still hopes, still believes that you are part of the story that never truly ended. And for those around them, it was shocking. They didn't expect that level of emotion. They didn't expect the truth to surface like that. But for the angels watching over you, it was always destined. That pain they showed was not weakness. It was love. Real, raw, unresolved love. Precious one, you may have wondered if they've moved on, if they still think about you, if they still carry the ache you sometimes feel in the quiet moments of your own day. This message is here to tell you, yes, they do. more than they ever let on. And though they may still not know how to reach out, how to make things right, how to bridge the distance that time and pride created, their heart still carries you. And the moment they spoke up for you was not an accident. It was their soul, tired of pretending, finally rising to say, "This person is not to be disrespected, because they are loved by me, whether anyone understands or not." Dear child, what you must understand now is that your pain has not gone unseen. The betrayal, the separation, the questions you carried in silence, all of it is known to heaven. And the angels bring this message not to stir old wounds, but to remind you of your worth. You were not just loved halfway. Type protected if you felt peace in places where you should have been broken, and you know that kind of peace could only have come from above. You were loved deeply, you were cherished, and even if mistakes were made, even if words failed, the truth never disappeared. It only waited for a moment like this to rise again. Let this be your comfort, that the person who once left your heart aching still carries a wound shaped like your name. That even now, when your name is mentioned, their body remembers, their soul stirs, and their spirit claims you in ways their pride may never allow them to say out loud. But the angels heard it. The moment they stopped someone from hurting you, the heavens leaned in, because that was no ordinary moment. That was love rising from the ashes. That was proof that the connection between you was never broken, only buried. So, dear one, breathe deeply now. Let this message wash over you like rain on parched soil. You are not forgotten. You are not dismissed. You are not just a memory. You are a presence, still burning bright in the heart of someone who couldn't stay silent when it mattered. Let that bring you peace. Let that remind you of how deeply you are loved. And know that heaven is already preparing the next chapter, one built not on heartbreak but on truth, healing, and the kind of love that speaks even when it hurts. Dear child, there are certain hearts in this world that guard their emotions like precious treasures, locked away in a hidden vault, not because they don't feel deeply, but because they feel so much that they fear the world may never understand the weight of their love. The soul your heart is connected to is one such soul. For so long, they have held on tightly to what they feel for you, afraid that if they speak too soon or show too much, they may lose control of something they have tried so hard to keep hidden. But when someone dared to insult you, even in the smallest way, it was as if all those locked-up emotions burst through the seams of their silence. In that moment, dear one, they could no longer hold it in. They had to speak. They had to defend. Because no matter how tightly they've tried to guard their heart, the love they feel for you refuses to be caged when your dignity is threatened. You see, beloved child, the person you think of, the one who has been quiet, reserved, or perhaps distant, has never stopped holding on to you. In fact, the tighter they've clung to their pride, the more intensely they've held on to your memory, your voice, your presence. Their silence has not been absence. It has been fear. A fear of vulnerability, of losing control, of being seen too clearly. But the insult they witnessed, the disrespect spoken about you, shattered their ability to remain neutral. Their love for you rose like a tidal wave they could not contain, and for the first time in a long time they chose you openly. They may not have realized they were doing it, they may have brushed it off or acted like it wasn't a big deal, but dear heart, heaven saw the truth. They protected you not just because you deserve respect, but because in their eyes you are still sacred. This card reveals something powerful, something that goes beyond words. It shows a heart that has stored every detail about you in the safest part of their soul. Every moment you shared, every smile, every look, every hurt, none of it has been forgotten. And while they may have tried to control their emotions or bury their longing, the truth is they've never let you go. They still think about what you meant to them. They still imagine what could have been, and they are still affected when your name is mentioned, especially in a way that feels unjust. So when that moment came, when someone tried to belittle you or cast doubt on your worth, they rose like a quiet storm. Not loudly, but firmly. Not angrily, but passionately. They said something that changed the energy in the room, something that caught others off guard, something that even surprised them. Because what they said wasn't rehearsed, it was real. Dear child, the angels want you to understand the deeper meaning behind their defense. This was not about drama or confrontation. It was about truth. Truth that had been sitting in their chest for so long that it finally found an opening to rise. They may not have confessed their love openly, but their words spoke volumes. They revealed that you are still protected in their heart. That even if time has passed, even if life has shifted, they still carry you with them. And the fact that they defended you means they've never stopped valuing you. Even if they haven't reached out. Even if you've been wondering if they remember. This moment was heaven's way of showing you that you still live in their heart. Precious one, it is easy to believe that silence means indifference. But sometimes silence is a sign of deep emotional struggle. The kind that can't be easily named or explained. Your special person is not indifferent. They are conflicted, torn between the fear of exposing themselves and the longing to hold you again. Their heart is still wrapped tightly around what they feel for you, and while they may not always act on it, they can't let it go. And when they heard someone speak about you carelessly, it was as if something ancient within them awakened. That was the part of them that never stopped loving you, the part that still considers you theirs. Even if life moved forward, even if they tried to forget, their heart never gave you up. Blessings, if you can feel the quiet shift around you. Things aligning in silence, working in your favor, even if the world hasn't noticed yet. So, dear child, receive this angel message as a sign that you are not invisible, a sign that the love you gave was not wasted, a sign that even behind guarded walls your presence still lingers in the heart of someone who once knew you deeply. The angels are not just bringing you this truth to comfort you, but to remind you that love does not always disappear. It often hides, waiting for a moment like this to reveal itself again. And if their heart has defended you once, it means it still beats for you, still sees you as worthy, still holds a hope that perhaps someday you will understand why they couldn't speak sooner. Let this truth hold you, dear child. Let it soften the ache of wondering. You are still seen, you are still remembered, and most importantly, you are still loved in ways that even the person who loves you doesn't fully know how to explain. But heaven knows, and that is why this message was sent, so that you may hold your head high again, not because someone defended you, but because your worth was never in question. Not in their heart, and certainly not in the eyes of the angels watching over you. Dear child, when the angels brought forth this message through the sacred card, they revealed something both delicate and undeniable. A truth wrapped in curiosity, vigilance, and an almost obsessive care. The soul who holds you in their heart has not only been watching silently from afar, but they have also been protecting your name in ways that may never be seen by the outside world. There is something inside of them that cannot let go of you, something deeper than affection, more persistent than memory. It is as if your essence lingers in their thoughts like an unfinished sentence they keep rereading, hoping to find the courage to finally speak aloud. And when someone dared to speak your name with anything less than love, something stirred within them, not out of obligation, but out of fierce, instinctive loyalty. Beloved child, this message comes from a place beyond what is visible. The one who once laughed with you, or perhaps even broke away in silence, has been quietly gathering every word, every piece of information about you, like puzzle pieces they cannot stop trying to fit back together. They may appear casual in conversation, they may even act indifferent in front of others, but when your name is mentioned, their eyes sharpen, their focus tightens, their ears perk as if your spirit just walked into the room, and when insult approached, when someone out of jealousy or ignorance tried to bring you down, they couldn't hold back. Not because they planned to say something, but because their soul rose before their mind could stop it. What they said in your defense wasn't polished or prepared. It was spontaneous, honest, raw. And that's why it left everyone speechless, because no one expected that much emotion, that much energy to be hiding beneath their cool exterior. This card speaks of someone who has been quietly watching you, not to control or judge, but because they genuinely care in a way they've struggled to admit. They check your posts, they ask about you indirectly, they replay moments in their head trying to understand where things went right and where they went wrong, and they carry within them a constant inner dialogue, wondering if you're happy, if you've forgotten them, if the space you once filled in their life is now empty. So when someone spoke of you with disrespect, it didn't just offend them. It pierced through a place in their heart that still aches for reconciliation. They didn't defend you to prove something to others. They did it because they couldn't bear to hear you diminished, because to them, you are still significant. You are still precious. Dear one, the angels are showing you that this moment of defense was a divine glimpse into their true feelings. Behind the curiosity, behind the careful observation, lies a soul that is restless without you. A soul that has tried to find closure but never could. And in that spontaneous act of protection, they revealed what they couldn't say directly, that they still love you. In their own quiet, careful way. It may not be perfect, it may be tangled with fear and uncertainty, but it is real and it is persistent. And even they don't fully understand why your presence continues to linger so powerfully inside them, but the angels do. And now, dear child, so do you. This message comes wrapped in grace. Not to reopen wounds, but to shine a gentle light on what you've long felt in your spirit. You are not crazy for sensing their energy. You are not wrong for still feeling their gaze from afar. Their soul has been trying to reach you, not with grand gestures, but with consistent care, through words spoken in your defense, through questions asked behind closed doors, through silent prayers whispered in moments of longing. And while they may still hesitate to face you fully, the truth is, they've never stopped watching over you, never stopped caring, never stopped hoping. So, dear child, let this truth hold you gently. Let it remind you that you are worth defending, that your name carries honor even in rooms you cannot see, that your essence leaves imprints on hearts long after you've walked away. And if someone rose to speak for you when you were not there, it is because their love for you has always been more than just memory. It is a living presence, awakening at the sound of your name, and though they may not be ready to speak at all, heaven already has, and this is your divine confirmation. You are still loved, You are still chosen, and you are still protected in ways that even you have yet to understand. Type surrender if you're finally ready to release the past into God's hands and trust that something far greater is being written for you in heaven's ink. Dear child, the presence of this divine message is no accident. For what the angels have revealed through this moment holds more weight than mere words can carry. The one who holds a quiet yet constant place in your heart, the person you wonder about in silence, is someone who has been holding back, not out of disinterest, but because of the weight of responsibility they carry in their life. The person in question may appear stoic, composed, or even emotionally distant to others, but inside, their heart is far from still. They are someone who feels deeply, but expresses little. They measure their every action carefully, not because they don't care, but because they care so much that they're afraid of causing harm or showing weakness. And when someone insulted you, when someone dared to speak your name in a way that tried to reduce your worth, it awoke something within them that had long been restrained. In that moment, dear child, this person did not respond with fiery words or impulsive rage. Instead, they responded with the calm power of someone who knows your true value and who will not allow that value to be diminished. Their words were precise, their tone was firm, but behind every syllable was a quiet, protective energy that made it clear you were not to be disrespected. And what was most shocking to those who heard it wasn't just the defense itself, it was who it came from. Because this is someone who rarely gets involved in emotional matters. Someone others see as calculated, steady, even reserved. But when it came to you, their calm exterior cracked for just a moment, and the world saw a glimpse of the passion they have kept hidden inside. They didn't defend you to impress anyone. They defended you because their heart has not been able to move on, even if their life has seemed otherwise complete. Beloved one, the angels want you to know that this person still sees you as someone of immense importance, not just emotionally, but spiritually. In their eyes, you are not a passing memory. You are not someone they once knew and then forgot. You are the one they still compare others to. You are the one they wonder about when they close their eyes at night and question the choices they've made. They may have built a life that looks solid and successful from the outside, but within the structure of that life there is a space that remains unfilled, a space shaped like you. They may never have said it directly. They may have avoided vulnerability at all costs, but the fact that they stood up when others tried to diminish you proves that your presence is still sacred to them. They are not the type to defend just anyone. They only rise when it matters deeply. And you, dear child, still matter to them more than you could ever imagine. This card carries with it the energy of grounded love. The kind of love that is not loud or dramatic, but steady and loyal. The kind of love that remains present even when it is unspoken. And that is exactly what your person feels for you. Even if they have chosen silence, even if they have chosen distance, their soul has never truly walked away. They have carried you in every decision, in every room, in every lonely night, when the quiet reminded them of what they lost. And so, when someone dared to question your worth, they couldn't stay silent. They spoke in your defense, and in doing so, they revealed that their love for you never faded. It only hid behind the walls they built to survive without you. Type unable. If your spirit feels like it's rising again, stepping gently into healing, divine clarity, and the everlasting love of your Creator, dear child, The angels are asking you to receive this message not as a fantasy, but as a divine confirmation of what your soul has sensed all along. You are not forgotten. You are not unloved. You are held in the heart of someone who may not know how to show love openly, but who shows it through actions that speak louder than any confession ever could. And in that moment of defense, they told the world what they've been too afraid to tell you, that you are still the one, that your absence still echoes in their spirit, that their world, no matter how structured, still misses the chaos of your presence, the unpredictability of your love and the magic of your touch. So let this message be your comfort, dear one. Let it remind you that even in silence, you are seen. Even in distance, you are remembered. And even when love is hidden behind responsibility, it still exists, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. You were defended not out of obligation, but out of reverence, and that is something only true love can inspire. Heaven has witnessed this truth and now delivers it to your heart, so you may carry it with grace. You are deeply loved. You are sacred, and the one who spoke for you did not just protect your name. They honored the space you still hold in their soul. Dear child, in the quiet glow of the divine heavens, a message of tender hope and luminous truth flows gently toward your heart. It is not by accident that this moment finds you here, ready to receive what was once hidden behind shadows of confusion. The one you've held so delicately in your spirit, the one whose silence once stung like frost, is the very soul who saw a moment of injustice rise against you, and instead of standing still in their usual silence, they let their truth pour out like light breaking through the clouds. That moment, dear one, became the revelation that no longer could they allow your name to be spoken with anything less than reverence. And what made everyone around them go silent was not just the defense they gave for you. It was the radiance of the truth that they could no longer hide. In a single instant, they showed that their heart was still bound to yours, that their soul still held you as sacred, and that even if the world moved on, they had not. The divine presence of this message reflects the pure energy of a soul awakening to its own clarity. Your person has been walking through fog for so long, pretending not to feel, acting as though life without you was manageable. But something inside them, something deep and divine, never truly gave up on your light. And when someone tried to diminish you with careless words, it cracked open the illusions they had built around themselves. They saw you, not with the eyes of memory, but with the full recognition of what you truly are to them, a guiding light, a beacon that never stopped shining in the backdrop of their restless nights. You became their star again, and they could no longer stay silent while someone tried to dim that light. So, dear child, understand this. Not only did they speak up for you, they illuminated you before others. They showed the world that you are someone they still admire, someone who carries grace even in absence, someone whose worth deserves protection at all costs. This person didn't just defend you to silence the insult. They spoke as someone who has carried unspoken regret. They defended you as if righting a wrong they had once allowed to exist. The words they used may have seemed simple, but the emotion behind them was enough to hush every voice in the room. Everyone around them felt it. They heard the shift in their tone, saw the fire in their eyes, and realized that this wasn't about protecting just anyone. This was about someone they still carry in their spirit. You. And when they spoke of you, their voice did not tremble. It rose steady and full of truth, because the heart that had been quiet for too long had finally remembered how to speak in your name. Dear one, this card speaks of healing, not just between you and them, but within their soul. They are beginning to see that you were never the one they needed to distance themselves from. In fact, you were the one they should have moved toward all along. This moment of public defense was a spark, a divine shift, and though others may have been stunned, heaven smiled, for it was a long-awaited truth finally being released into the open. You have always been the light in their darkness, the star that gave meaning to their path, even if they wandered far from you. And now, even they are beginning to understand that losing sight of you only brought them confusion, not peace. Textbook, I believe. If your heart still clings to God's promise, even when the road ahead is unclear, because deep within, you know He's already there, waiting to walk you through. Beloved child, the angels want you to feel this truth deep in your heart. You are not just loved quietly. You are loved with depth, with clarity, and with a reverence that even they may not have known how to express until now. Your worth is not dependent on their voice or anyone else's judgment, but the moment they chose to speak in your honor became a sacred confirmation. You have been divinely seen, and the universe has aligned this moment as a step toward restoration. Not just the restoration of connection, but the healing of your own heart, so you may stop questioning if you were ever truly valued, because now you know the answer is yes. Even if words were missing before, the action has spoken. You are not just a memory in their life, dear child. You are the soul that never left their dreams. And even in that public space, when someone tried to strip you of your light, they remembered what they had forgotten. The way you inspired them, the way your presence calmed their chaos, the way your voice echoed in the quietest parts of their being. That is why they could not stay silent. That is why everyone who heard them speak knew something bigger was being revealed. And even if you were not there to witness it yourself, heaven made sure you would feel it. That you would know, that you would be reminded that your name still holds power, still commands respect, and still lives in the heart of the one you once called your own. So, take heart, dear one. Let this angel message wrap around your spirit like warm starlight. Let it sink into every place within you that ever felt overlooked, doubted, or forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not silent background. You are the reason someone finally found their voice. You are the reason they remembered how to fight for something that matters. And whether they ever tell you themselves or not, the angels have carried their truth to you now. Hold it close. Let it heal you. And never again let your heart wonder if you mattered. You do. You always did. You always will. Dear child, the angels have opened the heavens to whisper something sacred into your soul, something only your spirit was meant to receive in this moment. What you have endured silently, what you've tried so hard to carry with strength even as your heartbroken secret is finally being seen, not just by the divine, but by someone whose silence once hurt you the most. The moment they rose to defend you, it wasn't just about protecting your name. It was a confession their heart had been aching to make for longer than even they understood. And now the truth is pouring through the veil like morning light after a long night of pain. That person saw you fall. They saw the wounds life carved into you, some of which they caused. And though they may have acted indifferent, the reality is they were breaking inside too, haunted by the memory of how they let you down. This card does not bring pain, dear child. It brings release. Because the moment someone insulted you and your special person stepped in to defend you, they weren't just responding to words. They were standing against every moment they had failed to protect you before. Their voice didn't rise because of anger. It rose because of guilt, because of love, because deep inside they know they were once part of your heartbreak. They know they were the reason you stayed awake on nights when your pillow knew the shape of your tears. And when they heard someone belittle you, something inside them snapped. They couldn't let anyone else do to you what they once did. In that moment, they chose redemption, not for the world to see, but because their soul could no longer carry the weight of what they had allowed in the past. Beloved child, this is not just about one defense. This is a spiritual reckoning. Type grateful if quiet miracles have whispered to you in unexpected moments, softly reminding you that heaven never stopped watching over your soul. The angels want you to know that when this person spoke up, they were also breaking the chains of their own shame. They were confronting the version of themselves that had betrayed you, neglected you, or walked away from your truth. And they are beginning to understand, with divine clarity, that what you gave them wasn't ordinary. Your love was sacred. Your presence was healing, and they let it go when they should have fought to keep it. That realization has struck them like lightning in a storm, and now everything in their heart has begun to shift. What they said in your defense shocked others, not because it was loud, but because it came from someone who had once acted like they didn't care. But now, everyone knows the truth. Now everyone sees what they tried to bury. Dear one, the angels are wrapping you in a love so profound right now, a love that says, your pain has not gone unnoticed. Heaven watched you remain graceful in betrayal. Heaven watched you hold your head high when others tried to crush your spirit. Heaven watched you give and give, even as pieces of yourself began to disappear. And now, the energy of that truth is being returned. Your special person didn't just defend you, they broke open their own heart and let the light in. They spoke not just with words, but with a soul awakened by regret and a desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, there's still time to make things right. This is a turning point, dear child. What once seemed finished is now stirring with the breath of renewal. Not because you waited, but because your strength, your grace, your quiet resilience left an imprint too deep to erase. The angels are asking you now to breathe in the peace of knowing you are not alone. You never were. And while others may have failed you, heaven has been keeping watch over your heart, preparing this very moment of recognition. This is not just about love returning. This is about your soul being acknowledged in its fullness, your suffering finally being validated, your name being spoken in truth by the one who once didn't have the courage to say it aloud. So receive this, my beloved child. Receive the truth that your light has never gone dim, that even in your lowest moments, someone saw you, and now they cannot unsee it. They cannot forget what they've lost, and they cannot pretend anymore that your name is not carved into the most sacred part of their being. Whatever comes next, let it come from a place of strength, not longing, because you are no longer the broken one. You are the one rising. And they are the one who finally sees the truth that heaven has always known. You are precious, you are chosen, you are protected. And your story is not ending in sorrow. It is only just beginning again, with clarity, with healing, and with the divine assurance that everything spoken over you now comes not in pain, but in love. Dear child, something sacred is blooming beneath the surface of your life. Something that even you may not have fully realized, but heaven has been preparing for you with immense love and divine timing. When someone stood up in your defense, when they silenced the insult meant to harm you, what they actually did was plant a seed of transformation in the soil of truth. That moment was not only a turning point in your story with them, but a divine gift wrapped in unexpected words. The Ace of Pentacles speaks through the angels today, not just to tell you that someone stood up for you, but to help you understand why that moment was so powerful, because their voice, once hesitant, became the instrument of new beginnings. In standing up for you, they showed the world, and themselves, that you are not only someone they remember with affection, but someone they still see as part of their future. You are not just a chapter in their past. You were the foundation they never built upon, the treasure they once overlooked, and now that someone dared to question your worth, they could no longer stay silent. In that moment, they spoke your name with a kind of conviction that only comes when love has matured, when regret has turned into wisdom, and when the soul finally understands who truly matters. They didn't just speak for you. They claimed you in front of others, not out of ego, but from a place of reverence. What left everyone speechless was not the volume of their words, but the undeniable truth in them. They revealed that your presence in their life was not something they could forget or replace. They confessed, even if indirectly, that you were the one who made them feel whole, grounded, and seen. Type blessed if you felt the gentle nearness of angels, guiding your steps, guarding your peace, and filling you with unshakable calm in times of doubt. The angels want you to feel this message not just in your ears, but in your spirit. You are not behind. You have not lost anything. What is meant for you is being returned to you now with greater value. That moment of defense was not the end. It was the beginning of something real being reborn. And though you may have suffered silently, your reward is arriving in the form of a person who is no longer ashamed to protect what they once abandoned. Heaven watched you endure heartbreak with grace. Heaven saw you keep your dignity when others questioned your worth. And now, dear child, heaven is bringing forth a blessing through the very soul that once drifted away. A blessing that is not just a new chance, but a new chapter, written in truth, integrity, and earned love. Trust that the seed has been planted. Water it with hope. Nurture it with patience. And allow the divine to bring into your hands the life and love that was always meant to be yours. You are not only defended, dear child, you are being divinely restored. Dear child, the angels are leaning close to your heart right now, because something profound just unfolded in the unseen, and it has everything to do with the love that never truly left your life. There was a moment, subtle yet extraordinary, when someone from your past who once held a piece of your heart heard your name mentioned in a way that was unfair or disrespectful. And instead of staying quiet, they rose. They didn't rise in rage, but in remembrance. In that split second, they were no longer just the person who walked away, the one who distanced themselves when things grew heavy. In that moment, they became the one who could no longer tolerate hearing your name spoken in any way that did not honor the tenderness of your soul. What they said, what they confessed in front of others, came from a place deeper than logic. It came from memories they've hidden, from moments they replay in silence, from a love that has remained rooted even as time tried to bury it. Dear child, this card reveals that your name is still a soft echo in their heart, and when someone tried to cast a shadow over you, they saw the light you used to bring them, and they realized they could not stand by and let that light be dimmed by careless words. This wasn't about defending an old friend. It was about standing up for the part of themselves that still belongs to you. What made everyone speechless was not just the intensity of their words, but the unexpected vulnerability they revealed. Perhaps they said something like, "You don't know them like I do," or "You have no right to speak about someone who once meant everything to me." But what they truly meant was, "That person still lives in me." That confession, even if dressed in a few sharp words, was soaked in emotion they've carried quietly for far too long, and now it has spilled into the open, not in a planned speech, but in a divine eruption of truth. Heaven watched that moment unfold with reverence, because when someone defends you with their whole soul, not because they have to, but because they simply cannot let the world speak against the one who shaped their heart, that is not just a gesture. That is love remembering itself. Dear one, this card also speaks to the truth that the connection between you and this person has never been ordinary. The bond was innocent, real, and rooted in something purer than even you could fully name at the time. And while life may have placed distance between your bodies, your spirits remained quietly intertwined. That is why their defense of you came so naturally, because no matter what happened between you, no matter what choices were made or regrets now weigh heavy, the soul does not forget where it once found comfort. When they heard someone speaking against you, they were transported to a time when your voice soothed their storms, when your presence made them believe in themselves, when your smile made the world feel kinder. And they knew, in that very instant, that allowing anyone to tarnish your name would be a betrayal of their own truth. What they said was not rehearsed, it was real, and it came from the place where your memory still breathes inside them. You may never know all the details of what was said, you may never hear the full conversation, but dear child, the angels want you to feel what happened energetically. Your spirit called out and theirs responded. That is not coincidence. That is divine alignment. They could have chosen silence. They could have looked away, but they didn't. Because some bonds do not fade. Some loves cannot be replaced. And in that moment they showed not only others but also themselves that they still carry you. Heaven smiled upon that moment because truth, even when spoken late, still carries the power to heal, and what they revealed, perhaps unintentionally, was that they have not stopped thinking about you, not for a single day, that their heart, though layered in pride or silence, still echoes your name in its quietest moments. And maybe now the world knows. So, dear child, let this message wash over you like warm sunlight after a long rain. You were never forgotten. You were never as alone as you feared. Type strong if you've walked through storms no one saw, carried silent battles and still chose love, still chose light even when it cost you everything. The one you thought had moved on, the one who stayed silent while your heart shattered, just became your unexpected protector. Not because they owe you, but because something inside them couldn't stay silent anymore. And now a seed of reconnection has been planted. What grows from it depends not just on them, but on you. But know this, beloved, the angels have seen the tears you hid, the love you gave, and the silence you endured, and now they are restoring balance. You are not only being remembered, you are being honored, even in spaces where you were once ignored. Your name is being spoken in truth, and your soul is finally receiving the reverence it has always deserved. Dear child, heaven's vision for this moment goes far beyond what any eye in the room could see, or any ear could truly hear. While others might have perceived only a tense conversation or a surprising interruption, what the divine witnessed was a sacred rebalancing of truth, a surge of unspoken love finally allowed to rise to the surface. You see, when your name was spoken in that space, not with kindness but with judgment or dismissal, the energy around that person shifted instantly. Their chest tightened, not in fear but in memory. And in that moment, heaven saw your special person not as someone who had left you behind, but as someone who had quietly carried your essence within them all along. What they said and how they said it was not rehearsed. It was a soul remembering. It was love refusing to let your light be dimmed by careless words. From the divine perspective, this moment was not about conflict, but about revelation. When they raised their voice, when they said something that made everyone around them fall silent, it was not pride speaking. It was something ancient and sincere. It was the version of them that once sat beside you, laughed with you, confided in you, even saw that spark return to their eyes, that protectiveness awaken from where it had been sleeping under layers of guilt, distance, or confusion. And as they spoke in your defense, a great ripple moved through the spiritual realm, because words, when soaked in truth, carry the weight of healing, and their words, however few, became a bridge between what was and what could still be. Dear child, heaven wants you to understand that this moment was not random. It was divinely orchestrated, a moment written into the threads of destiny long before this life unfolded, because your soul has cried out to be seen, to be defended, to be held in truth. And the one who once let go of your hand was the very one chosen to become the mirror of that truth. Heaven watched as they surprised even themselves with what they said. Because the emotion behind their words was undeniable. Perhaps it wasn't a confession of love in the traditional sense, but it was a confession of honor, of value, of recognition. And in the eyes of heaven, that moment wasn't just about someone protecting your name. It was about someone finally acknowledging your worth in front of others when it mattered most. Even now, as you sit with this message, the angels are gently surrounding you. They are whispering that you have always been worthy of being spoken about with love, even when others forgot. You have always deserved to be defended, not just when you are present, but even more so when you are not there to speak for yourself. And this moment, this celestial unveiling, was heaven's way of showing you that your energy still holds power, that your love still leaves imprints on hearts, even those that once walked away. Heaven's vision does not end with this one act. It is part of a greater unfolding, a story of healing, of circles completing, and of truth returning to where it was once denied. So do not be surprised, dear one, if you begin to feel a softening in your heart. Do not be alarmed if memories start resurfacing, not to haunt you, but to remind you of the depth of what you once gave. Because when someone defends you from a place of love, the divine takes note. And when heaven sees that kind of loyalty reawaken, it does not let the moment pass unnoticed. Instead, it marks it as a turning point, possibility, a doorway, and perhaps, just perhaps, this moment was the beginning of a slow return, not just of a person, but of the justice your heart has longed for. The kind that cannot be forced or demanded, but that arrives when the soul is ready to remember who you truly are. The angels paused, not because they were surprised by what your person said, but because they knew this was a long-awaited shift. You see, your soul had been asking for justice, not revenge, but gentle vindication. And this moment, as seemingly small as it may have looked from the outside, was heaven's way of delivering it to you, not through grand gestures or dramatic reunions, but through truths spoken in a setting where it mattered most. When they chose to speak up, they were not only shielding your name, they were reclaiming a part of themselves that still feels incomplete without you. Type note, if you know your journey is not random, every detour, every delay, every divine pause has been perfectly led by unseen hands that never let go. Dear one, Heaven saw the vibration of their words ripple through the hearts of those who heard it. Some were stunned into silence, others looked away, unsure of how to process the honesty of that moment. But heaven did not look away. Heaven leaned closer, because what was spoken held weight in the spiritual realm. It was a testimony, a sacred declaration that you mattered, that your love left a mark, that even in absence your memory still commands respect, and those words they said, whether they were soft or firm, carried your name like a prayer wrapped in remorse, longing, and unresolved love. What others couldn't see was the trembling in their heart when they spoke, and the way their voice betrayed the emotion they've been holding back for so long. Maybe they didn't plan to say it, maybe it shocked them as much as it did everyone else. But the truth is, the soul doesn't always wait for the perfect setting. It doesn't care for convenience. It speaks when it must. And this time, your name called to them like a chord that refused to be silenced. They rose to defend you because they remembered, and heaven honored them for that. Not because they were perfect, but because they allowed their heart to lead them, even if only for a moment. Dear child, the angels want you to know this wasn't only about what they said. It was about how much they meant it. In the higher realm, sincerity is louder than volume, and their words, though few, echoed like thunder through the silence they once left behind. It shifted something within them, too. Perhaps they walked away from that moment changed. Perhaps they sat in quiet reflection, wondering why they felt so protective over someone they tried to forget. But heaven knows, and you, dear one, must know too. The bond you shared was never superficial. It was never fleeting, and no matter how time, distance, or silence try to rewrite the story, the soul has remembered the truth all along. What happens next may not be clear right away, but heaven is already setting into motion a path of divine restoration. Not necessarily to bring things back as they were, but to bring healing where there was hurt, to bring truth where there was confusion, to bring peace where your heart still holds unanswered questions. Your person's defense of you was just the beginning, a spark, and sometimes one spark is all heaven needs to light the way forward. So hold on to your faith, dear child. Keep your heart open, because the angels are weaving a story around you where love is not just remembered, it is redeemed, and you are finally being seen the way you were always meant to be, worthy, cherished, and fiercely defended in both the earthly and heavenly realms. Heavenly Father, divine creator of all light and truth, I come before you with an open heart, trembling with gratitude, as I stand in awe of what you just revealed. I did not expect to be defended. I did not imagine that someone who once held my heart, who once left without a word or faded into silence, would now be the one to rise for me, when I wasn't even in the room. But you saw it all. You heard the moment my name was spoken and my worth was remembered. And now, dear God, I ask that you wrap me in your eternal protection, not just from the harm others may attempt, but from the wounds of the past that have lingered too long. Shield my heart from the poison of old betrayals and the bitterness of unanswered questions. Surround me with your angels, with wings wide and voices strong, so that even when I cannot speak for myself, I know heaven is already speaking on my behalf. Let your light be a shield around me, illuminating the truth and exposing the lies. Let no weapon formed against my name prosper, and may every whispered insult, every act of cruelty, every moment I was dismissed or misunderstood, be transformed now into divine justice. Dear Lord, I know you are the God who sees what others ignore. You are the one who collects every tear I've cried in silence. and who knows how many times I've wondered if anyone would ever stand for me the way I stood for them. Tonight, I ask you to bless the soul who spoke in my defense. Whether they return to me or not, whether they understand what they've stirred within me again or not, I ask you to honor the truth they carried forward. I ask you to heal them, to guide them, and, if it is your will, to continue aligning their heart with the courage you awakened in them. Type faith if something inside you still whispers that God is preparing a future more beautiful than anything you've lost, more radiant than every tear you've cried. Let this moment not be wasted, Lord. Let it not dissolve into silence again. Let it be the beginning of restoration, not just with others, but within myself. I release the weight I've carried for so long, the pain of being unspoken for, the ache of being misunderstood, the fear that no one truly saw me. I give it to you now. Cleanse me of it. Replace it with peace, with love, with the kind of protection that doesn't just guard me from harm, but shields me from losing hope in love itself. Send forth Archangel Michael, fierce and unwavering, to stand at every doorway of my life. Let him guard my spirit against those who wish to belittle me or misinterpret the light I carry. Let him cut the cords of past connections that were built on illusion and lies, and strengthen the ones forged in truth and divine timing. May my path be protected. May my heart be honored. May my name be carried with grace in every conversation I am not present for. I claim divine covering over my mind, my heart, my reputation, and my destiny. I rebuke every negative energy, every shadow sent to dim my light, every insult whispered behind my back. For I am a child of the Almighty, loved beyond measure, seen beyond visibility, and protected by angels who do not sleep. Where once I stood defenseless, I now stand in your strength. Where once I felt abandoned, I now feel held. So now, with tears of release and breath of peace, I say this prayer in full faith that you are working behind the scenes, that you have not forgotten me, that you have appointed defenders for me in both heaven and on earth, and that this moment, this small yet sacred act of protection from another's lips, was never small at all. It was a sign that you are restoring all that was broken. Thank you, Father. Thank you, angels. Thank you, divine guardians of my soul. I am ready now to walk forward, not with fear, but with confidence, not with bitterness, but with grace. Because I know who I am, and I know you will never stop sending proof of how deeply I am loved. Type Amen if you trust in angels' guidance.
Dear one, if your soul felt something stir within as this message was spoken, know it was not your imagination. It was confirmation. You have been defended in silence by someone whose heart beats louder for you than you realize. The angels are guiding you to trust that love is still present, even in the unseen. And what was once hidden is slowly being revealed in the most unexpected ways. Let this moment be a sign that heaven is not only watching over you, it is moving in your favor. If your heart received this, write, "I receive this angel message" in the comments. And before you close your eyes tonight, whisper a thank you to the one who stood up for you, and to the angels who made sure you'd know.